Is it *6 if you're on the phone?
So,
Raise your hand.
all right. So, Kathy, would you like to begin and tell a little bit about creating with blind abandon? And I will turn it over to you and Linda.
Okay. Okay, I'm Kathy Trimm, and this is Linda Brown. And we started creating with blind abandon as a way to let our kiddos experience art actually, because we found out that we had a lot of kids that were very interested in art, and it's just not really accessible to students with visual impairment. So we wanted to bring something to them that they could have fun expressing their creativity and see. Yeah, most people think it's completely visual, but we wanted to let them have a sense of what it is by letting them produce it themselves in a tactile means. So we, pre-COVID, we were meeting at Metropolitan Multi-Service Center, and we were meeting once a month with the kids and just letting them come in, and we would do tactile art projects for them monthly. So if we have a website that has a lot of things on it about our program, and it's just creatingwithblindabandon.com. And we're hopeful that we're going to be able to get back to in person, but Ron and I were just talking prior to this about the option of creating it where when we do go back in person, including a Zoom meeting for those who can't make the trip down, they can still participate. So that's really exciting for us to get more kiddos involved. And so anyway, but we are extremely casual. So anything we come up with, if we're not explaining it clearly, or if you have any questions at all, just let us know. And we're very open to working through whatever. And everything we brought today, pretty much most of it, we are Dollar Tree friendly. So a lot of people don't have extra money to make projects for gifts and things at this time of year. So we went to the Dollar Tree, and you'll be amazed at some of the stuff that we can create that's actually very nice to give as gifts. Another one of our projects is a very special project that we did with our kids last year. And that's the one that we actually include real costume jewelry. And it's not real jewelry, it's just the costume jewelry, the quote fake stuff. But anyway, it makes a beautiful Christmas tree. And we weren't able to get it at Dollar Tree, but we posted on Facebook that if anybody had any old costume jewelry they just wanted to get rid of, that we were going to be using it for an art project. And so many people donated. So that's an option for you too. Or, resale shops, Goodwill, stuff like that. I don't know. But anyway, but for the most part, we're doing Dollar Tree friendly activities. Okay. So I know that there are a few that are in attendance that may be cited. So we will be showing examples. Other than that, we're going to be doing our best to give it to go ahead and give very good descriptions. Okay, so the first thing we're going to start with is we're taking a canvas. You can get these little canvas boards that people use for painting. Dollar Tree, who knew? So they have different sizes. They have the 8x10s, or they have the 5x7s. So what we're doing is we're going to make a feather boa Christmas tree on this canvas. And you can get in the Christmas section right now, they actually have red and green boas. And by boas, that's the feather garlandy thing that, the girls wear around their necks and stuff. So they have all different colors. So they have pinks and purples and whites and reds and greens right now. So what I did is I got a green feather boa, and I'm going to make a Christmas tree out of it. There are different options depending on the size of the tree you want to make. This particular canvas that I have is an 8x10. So there are different kinds of craft sticks. The first thing we're going to do is make our triangle Christmas tree base. Okay, so you will know exactly where to stop filling in the boa. There are several options for this. We have the larger popsicle sticks to just simply tack down in the shape of a triangle. And if it wasn't big enough, we also have the option of using pipe cleaners. So what we are doing is just taking pipe cleaners and twisting them together I have, at the top, the two, you twist them together and then shape it into the shape of a triangle to fit whatever size you want. So, and as far as using the pipe cleaners, I like that idea because you don't have to worry about removing the popsicle sticks or craft sticks after it. But what I'm doing is I'm just twisting together at the tops two ends of the two different pipe cleaners. And then I'm just going to shape them into a triangle. You could either do 3 or whatever you want, but for the size that I need, these are very long. So I'm just going to spread out my triangle across the width. I'm putting the tip of the triangle at the top of the board. Then I'm spreading the two sides out to the width of my canvas. Okay. And you can tack it down with some tacky glue. Then you're just going to take, but what I want to do is, because tacky glue takes a little bit of time to dry. I mean, the option is, if you're brave, unlike me, you could use, of course, a hot glue gun, but we don't recommend it. So what we do is, before we even tack it down, is I'm going to go ahead and shape it into a triangle. So that way I don't have to worry about the pipe cleaners moving while I'm trying to make my triangle. So it's just like a Hershey Kiss is kind of what it looks like, a green triangle out of my pipe cleaner. And then what you do after that is you just you glue it down to your board. Okay. And I'm going to use tacky glue. The reason I like the tacky glue is because it seems to stick a little better than just like an Elmer's glue or something like that. But this is a fun project because you don't have to be very specific about how you put your glue. Of course, you want it along the edges. You want it to cover, the pipe cleaner to make sure that it's stuck. And Linda, if there's something that, you could help me clarify, that's fine too. Just chime in. But I'm just lining my triangle pipe cleaner with glue. And then I'm just sticking it down on the board.
You're flipping it over.
Flipping it over. Yeah, flipping it over to where the glue is touching. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So, and then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in my triangle with some tacky glue. So it's just squeeze. You can fill the edges so you can kind of see where your, let me see if I can do this down. Yeah, this is much better. Okay. I'm just kind of filling it in. Putting a big glob of glue on the inside of my triangle. And I want it to be a big glob because I want it to catch my feather boa when it goes inside. Okay, you can, if you like to get into your work, you can use your finger to smooth it out, or you can use a craft stick. You can use a paintbrush if you're particular like Linda. And that's a great idea. I didn't even think of that. Anyway, so I'm just basically filling in my triangle, kind of painting the inside of my triangle with glue. So if that makes it a little more clear. So I'm taking it, and I put a whole lot. I was very liberal with it, so that my boa has a lot to grab onto. Okay, and then I'm just taking this feather boa, and it's a lot of fun. Now, the thing is, this is usually found in the children's toy section in Dollar Tree. And, but right now, like I said, they have it in the Christmas section because they have red and green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the big part, the bottom of my triangle, and I'm straightening out my feather boa into a strip. See, just a little strip. And then I'm going to start at the very bottom of my triangle. And on the feather boa, there's kind of a rope thing that the feathers are hanging off on. So what you need to do is focus on pressing the rope part down, okay? Because the feathers are going to be flying all over the place, and that's fine. But you want to make sure that the rope part is sticking. And you're going to feel when you get to the end of the pipe cleaner triangle. And so as soon as you get to the end, you're just going to turn the rope to where you're making the next row of feather boa. So since we have all of our glue down already, we're just squeezing it down. And what you want to also make sure you do is push your rope close to the bottom rope. So as you wrap your rope around, and I'm using an 8x10 frame, so I'll kind of be able to tell you about how much of this boa you'll use. But if you use like a 5x7 frame, then of course you'll probably get 2 or 3 of these Christmas trees out of one boa. So I like things like that we can use for multiple projects, all for $1. So anyway, my feather boa is coming along. I'm on row 3. Does anybody, are y'all kind of understanding what I'm saying? Does anybody have any questions about what I'm doing? I'm just making kind of a furry Christmas tree with these ropes and the feathers. Okay. Is everybody clear on what I mean by the feather boa? Does anybody have any questions about that? I don't see any hands up, so I'm going to assume we're all good to go.
Yep, no hands are raised, so I think you're good.
Oh, okay. Or if anybody just has any comments, this is completely interactive. I don't mind if you guys just speak up. What I'm doing is I'm just going from one end to the other and then twisting it back on itself. Now I'm getting to the top of my triangle, and you know what? The boa just fits to cover up the whole triangle. So that's kind of cool. So now what I have is a big old feathery Christmas tree. So if for my sighted folks, I'm just kind of lifting it up, and it's not a perfect triangle, and that's the beauty of it. It looks like a tree because its tree branches are all over the place. Trees are not in a perfect triangle usually. So anyway, it kind of gives that feeling that it's a it's a real tree. So now while I'm letting this dry a little bit, just to keep and I'm really happy. Look, Linda, it's sticking pretty good. It turned out really good. I really like it. So anyway, this is basically our Christmas tree. Another thing that I found at the Dollar Tree was a pack of little Christmas drums, the little drummer boy kind of drums. Well, this was the bigger ones, and I think they had 9 or 12 little 12 little drums. So they're like little bright colored, really. So they, they're kind of cool. But what I'm thinking is that's probably going to make a really good base for my Christmas tree, because it's in the shape of a cylinder, like a drum, and it's already decorated. So all we have to do is add a big old glob of okay, now it's in a cylinder, so I don't want it to stand up like a drum. I guess you could if you wanted to, but it's just going to have like a gold top. But you can really see more of the drum if you lay the cylinder on its side. Okay, so I'm putting a big glob of glue on the side of my drum. Okay, and then it's not going to be straight down because there's some little ropes and things on it, but that's okay. It's going to grab on to, it's going to grab on to some of the feathers that are hanging down. It's going to grab on. And this is going to take a little bit more time to dry because, again, it's not a flat surface. It's a cylinder, so it may take a little bit more to dry. But what I like about it is, it makes a definite base for where the bottom of your Christmas tree is. So now, before I move on further with this particular project, I just did this on a white canvas, but you have so many options for what you could do with your canvas before. There's something that I like to do with my kiddos that I work with at school. And well, I guess we've even done it in our club too, but there's something called cloud paint. And what I like about cloud paint is it's incredibly textured. So the way you make cloud paint is you use just cheapo shaving cream, again, Dollar Tree, and you mix it with plain white glue. And what I did with one of my students yesterday, I actually did this on a project, but I had her mix it all up, and then we wanted to add another sensory element. So we got some peppermint essential oils and just daubed a little bit of peppermint oil. You don't want to do too much because we don't want to change the consistency. So you just want enough to add that extra sensory element. And then you mix it all up. And when you paint with it on your canvas, it makes a big old puffy like cloud on your paper. So you can smooth it out how you want, or you can just leave it, you know, for a background. It's a lot of fun when you're doing Christmas projects because it gives that snowy element. Plus it's incredibly tactile, and it feels, when it dries, it takes probably a day to dry, but when it dries, it's just puffy and it feels soft and squishy, and it's really just kind of a cool extra element, but it adds that wintry effect to whatever you want to do. So you could add some snow. You could either paint with it, you could make little snowflakes, you know, little daubs of it around to make it look like it's snowing by your Christmas tree.
Hey, Kathy, it's
Yes,
Ron.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
that cloud paint, that is something you make there yourself then?
Yes,
That's with
something that
the
I,
shaving cream and glue and
yes.
okay.
Yeah,
That
shaving cream and glue. I wish I had complete directions, but I'm the world's worst about putting quote some. So
well,
I mix a glob of shaving cream and then less glue. Okay, you don't want it 1 to 1. Just like squirt some glue. And it's not a perfect recipe. It's just to give it that texture. So it's really, it's just kind of a cool thing. I can get the recipe for it, Ron, if you want to post it on
well,
your
eh,
website or
and
something.
something we usually do with our calls is send out a follow-up email to everyone who's
Okay.
here.
Okay.
And if you could get me that, I'd appreciate it. And I'll make sure it goes out to our follow-up email here.
Okay.
I'll include that.
Yeah, another thing I was thinking yesterday when I was working with my kiddo is maybe add a little cinnamon to it, you know, mix
Cool.
that in too. And that's going to give it like a more of a brown, like a, you know, if you wanted to make a, like a ground texture or something like that, it's kind of a brown color. So it's more like the texture of
Earthy.
earthy. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are some options. You can also simply paint the background with whatever you want. And there's some options for different things you can add to paint to give the paint that texture too. So some of those options are things like you can add salt to the paint or sugar to the paint, or different sand is a very popular thing that a lot of people add to the paint, just so when it dries you can feel that yes, you did paint it, because you know that just adds that texture to it. So, and there's all kinds of things that we found out about that we don't use too much, but if you go to the art store, you can find textured paint. But since we do everything in bulk, we try to make as much as we can on the cheap. So that's kind of how we fly. So I don't know, you know, I'm going to go ahead and lift up my tree one more time so you can see the little base on the bottom of the tree is now a drum. So it's kind of sticking on there a little bit. Now my tree is pretty much formed. So what I want to do now is I want to decorate my tree. We don't want just a tree. The cool thing about these feather boas at Dollar Tree right now is it's not only green, but it has some gold tinsel kind of coming out of it too. So it kind of already looks like it has tinsel on the Christmas tree. So it has a little bit, and it's just like sticking out like old school tinsel. I don't know how many of you are old enough like me, but remember when we would throw the tinsel on the tree and the globs? Well, it kind of has that kind of tinsel, not the beautiful stuff that's wrapped around now, but just the random strings of tinsel. So go ahead. You know, you guys out there, some of y'all know what I'm talking about.
Don't call us out like that.
If I call myself out, nobody's safe. Okay. Anyway, now there's so many options for different things that you can do to decorate this tree. When I was running around Dollar Tree last night, I came across this jewel border stickers. So it's stickers that you can stick on, but it comes off in a whole border, which I really like, because most of the jewels that you get that are sticky at Dollar Tree, you have to take them off one by one and do your thing. But I was kind of wondering if this would work as to add more of that tinsel around, because it comes off in a whole strip. So is that clear? Does that make sense to everybody? It's just like a string, what would I say? Just a like a ribbon. Yeah, kind of like a ribbon. So you can just take the ribbon and add it to this is kind of like what you would do with garland around a Christmas tree. So what I'm finding now as I'm doing it in action is you can tear it wherever you want to tear it. So it's a strip that has, in this case, it has some big jewels in the center, and they're surrounded by about 8 to 10 small jewels, like in the shape of a flower. But on a strip, there's probably 25 jewels across. Okay. So I'm just taking my strips of jewels and I'm making my garland for my Christmas tree, because I think that just adds a little something extra to it. And you can kind of just do some space between. It's not a, it's not a project that's perfect. You can do it in zigzags. You can just put it however you want on your tree. It's your tree. You do your thing. So that's kind of what we tell our kids. And I'm kind of making a zigzag pattern on mine, so it kind of gives the impression that it's wrapped around the Christmas tree. So now I have a big strip across the bottom, and then I'm zigzagging in the shape of the letter, V's, if you have visual memory of that. But it's just in these arches, not arches, what would I call that? Just points. Okay, so you bring it across the bottom, make a point, and come back slightly up higher, and then till you get to the next end, and then you're going to point the next row up, and you're just kind of zigzagging. Does that make sense? Is that clear? Is everybody like know what I'm talking about? Ron, does that make sense?
It does. You're
Okay.
good.
Okay, good.
I think you're clear. And if someone raises their hand, you should see it because you're the co-host. And that's why you could not raise your hand earlier, because
Yeah, but you know what? I can't see everybody. I can
Okay.
just see like a few people at the top. So
And
that's what I was concerned about. I can't.
Okay.
Well, here, let me look over here. There's a participants block. Oh, now I can see y'all.
there you go.
See?
How's
Okay.
that? Better?
Good. Let me see. Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. So all my people listening, we all good? Everybody's okay? Understanding what I'm saying? Okay. Okay, so now I've got some garland on my Christmas tree. Of course, it has its tinsel. This border that comes in border is different than just the little jewels. If it says border, then you know it's in a strip. It came in different colors. I grabbed some white and some pink. I think there's a lot of like blues and different colors or whatever, if you want to add different stuff to your tree. Now, another thing is next we want to put our beads. We want to decorate it with our Christmas balls, right? So we have so many options, and this is again is a personal preference. So what do you want to use for your Christmas tree balls? You could use pom-poms, colored pom-poms that you get at the Dollar Tree, if that was one of your options. Then one thing that I saw last night is there are so many different colored beads at Dollar Tree. If you have one of the bigger Dollar Trees by you, there's a craft section. And really, I'm not like involved with Dollar Tree in any way. I'm just, that's just usually what we can afford. Okay, so anyway, there's colored beads, there's metallic beads, there's wooden beads, there's all kinds of different color texture beads that you want. There's what?
Glass rocks.
Yeah, there's all kinds of like glass rocks and all kinds of stuff. So you pick whatever you want to put on your Christmas tree. Now let's see.
I think we should use these pink ones.
You think the pink?
Yeah, I
Okay.
like the pink.
I've got 2 different sizes of pink beads. So they're just like, if you're familiar with pony beads, they're kind of like that. Just those little beads that like little girls like to make their jewelry out of and things like that. What I want to do is I want to include different sizes of beads just to give my Christmas tree some more interest. So now these beads, this is where you're probably going to get dirty, but what you want to do is you want to take your just whichever bead you want to put on, and you're going to hold it between, just hold it in your hand between your thumb and your pointer finger, and just glob some tacky glue on top of it. And then really you're just going to put it on your tree. Just put it on there wherever it falls. Now what I'm doing as I'm doing this, I'm noticing my big ones are kind of falling in, sinking a little bit into my tree, and that's okay. You can still see it. So now I'm just going to do it randomly with different kinds of beads. So my smaller beads are kind of staying on top of the feathers. The bigger ones are kind of going down in the feathers. You can use anything you want. There's even a bunch of wooden beads that you could put in with your beads, and they're colored already. So all of this is going to give, if you're giving something like this, to a sighted person for a gift or whatever, they'll love it. They'll this is something that'll give a lot of visual effect too. But even if it's just for you, it's so textured and textual that it's really just, I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm including wooden beads and plastic beads and glass beads and whatever, just any kind of beads I want. I'm just putting them on my tree. So, and different sizes are important too. I love just my Christmas tree just being all great, very different. There's also like pearl beads and different things. Now, this is a total preference thing. So I'm just putting beads randomly all over my tree. You can do it how you want. Then after I finish and I feel like I have enough beads on it, the next thing that we need on our tree is usually a tree topper. So the fun thing about this project is you can put whatever you want on the top of your tree. You can do a star, you can do, if you have a piece of jewelry you want to stick on the top of it, if you have a little angel, that's fine too. Or if you want to keep going with our Dollar Tree theme, there are some glitter stickers that they have right now that are in the shapes of Christmas, different Christmas decorations. So they have like Christmas trees, snowflakes, red ribbons, and I think I'm going to use, there's even some that have little reindeer that you can stick on the bottom of your Christmas tree. Maybe we'll do that. Open that. I think just for the sake of, what do we have that might be fun, Linda, to put on the top of our tree? Oh, it'd be fun too, a Christmas bell. Do we have bells,
yes,
Sandy?
we have bells.
Yeah, bells. I love bells because then we're adding that auditory element too. So I think I'm going to make a Christmas bell for the top of my tree, just so why not, So you can use any size of bell you want, and guess what? You can get those at Dollar Tree too. So I'm just trying to see, what we can do that's really, we like doing things that just anybody can do. So that's the thing about our program. Okay, so I made a bell for the top of my Christmas tree. I'm going to try to just kind of lift it up so some of our sighted folks can see. But anyway, so I love the Christmas tree. Linda, do you like it?
Fabulous.
And it's so textured. So now I'm going to give it time to dry, and I think this is going to be super awesome. I love it. I love it because it looks like a tree. So anyway, does anybody have any questions on project number 1? And Ron, you might have to stop us if we start getting too windy too.
Hey, y'all are doing great. I'm actually taking notes while you write. So I'm writing down supplies and such that y'all are using. So
You know what? I can send you that information too, Ron.
Okay, great. Great.
I'll just send
All
a
right.
picture too to add to it in case anybody has, somebody cited.
Awesome. Yeah, please. Okay.
So that was
So
one. And then again, like I said, you could put little stickers around it or whatever you want. But I think it's really a super cute tree that you can hang for your Christmas decorations.
we had a hand raised and Nicole
Okay.
lowered it.
Yeah.
Nicole, what's the scoop, girl? Did you have a question, Nicole?
Audio now unmuted.
Hello,
Hi, Nicole. How are you?
can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
For the tree on the canvas,
Yeah.
what else can you use besides pipe cleaners?
You can also use, to make your triangle, you can use different kinds of popsicle sticks that you could just shape in the shape of a triangle. Basically anything just to make a triangle. So you have those borders on
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Or you can, yeah, anything. Oh, yes. Another thing we have is like Mardi Gras beads you could put in the shape of a triangle, and that would add a nice little element to it. But what I just found by doing this project is your feathers are going to cover up whatever you use anyway. So it really doesn't matter as long as you have something that.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be pipe cleaners.
No, it doesn't. You can use anything you want, just so you can feel where to stop with your feathers, because the feathers just kind of flow all over everything. So you're not going to just be able to rely on making your string shorter. I mean, I guess you could, but it seems to me like that would be very, very tedious whenever you can just string your string from border to border, and you know where to stop and turn that rope, go in the opposite direction.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Amanda, you have your hands raised. Amanda, did you have a question? I see a hand raised for Miss Amanda Davis. Do you have a question, Amanda? Okay. Amanda, if you have a question, just chime in, okay? We're going to go ahead and start our next project, but please just let me know. Just unmute and let me know if you have a question. All right. Now,
can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Hear you? Yes. Now I hear you.
I apologize for that.
Worry.
My question was about the glue that you're using.
Okay.
Is that Elmer's glue or a special like art tacky glue?
Tacky glue. And again, you can get it at the Dollar Tree. This particular one we're using is called Aleene's Tacky Glue. And it's yeah, it's thicker. And so it grabs onto things better. So yeah, it's way better for art projects than just the regular glue.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But if you wanted to use the glue to make the cloud paint, I would just use regular Elmer's glue because it's thin, and that's an instance when you would need the thinner glue.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So everybody got a thumbs up on this one. Did y'all like that? I liked it. I thought it turned out really well. Okay.
Great.
All right. Now for our next project, this one, let's go ahead and kind of keep with that same theme. Last year with our kids, this next project, again, if you can get your hands on some costume jewelry, this is an absolutely beautiful project that you will love to give to anybody. Really, it's really turns out to be a very nice project.
We've had people call, and actually I've had people ask me, hey, I'd like to purchase, can you make some more of those?
Yes, we posted it on our website last year of all of our kids' finished projects of this, and we had people call in saying, hey, you know, I'll pay for it. Will they do one for me? Because this is a very, very nice project. So what it is what we did is we went to Goodwill, Dollar Tree, wherever, and just got picture frames, okay? And it doesn't matter what's inside the picture frame, you're just going to take it out. And then we were able to go for our particular project. We went online and we just printed out some music sheets that had Christmas carols on it, like well, this one was Oh Christmas Tree, so it was perfect. But you can go and Google that and just maybe with a little help get those, just find it, and it looks like something out of a music book, and it has all the music behind it. We just printed out that music sheet on some manila paper kind, so it's not just a stark white, just a colored paper. And then we cut it down to fit into our whatever size frame. So we used a lot of 5x7s for our project. And then we just got a Christmas tree cutout. And a lot of times you can find these Christmas tree cutouts at Dollar Tree or Michael's or Hobby Lobby or anywhere, but it's just a simple paper tree. So we first put whatever background we want inside the frame. Okay, so we can use our Christmas paper, or you can use some scrapbook paper, you can use colored paper, you can use whatever you want for the background. But for our particular project, we used Christmas music. So really, it's totally up to you on whatever you want for inside your picture frame, okay? And so now you close it up, you have your picture, okay? Now you're gonna take a Christmas tree paper cutout or foam. They have foam cutouts you can get like almost anywhere in the shape of just that regular old triangle Christmas tree with a bottom square, okay? So what we do with that is we glue it onto the outside, the glass part of your picture frame. Okay, so now we are gluing onto the actual picture on the glass. Okay, so it kind of goes against everything we think of with a picture frame, because everything is going to happen on top of the glass, not inside the frame. Okay, any questions on that? Does that make sense? Okay, so now we have our shape of our Christmas tree. So for this, we are going to take old jewelry. And our kids had a great time, because in this instance, you are going off of what textures you like, what feels cool to you, because it really doesn't matter. It's all going to look beautiful whenever you're finished with it. So we like to start off with lining our triangle with whatever. Okay, just so again, I like it with my kids because I'm getting that border. That's a concrete border. Since you have this glued onto the frame, you will feel that border. You're going to feel it anyway, but as you start adding stuff to it, that border is going to kind of go away. So what I like to do is I like to start out with some sort of like necklace, or some sort of beads, or something that I can just glue onto the borders of it. So what we used for our projects we did last year is we used E6000 glue, because this is the heavy duty, big mama of the glues that you can use. You can use E6000. You can use 100% silicone, and that's the kind of stuff that you like caulk windows with or whatever, but it has to be 100% silicone. And I'm going to tell you, that's what, if any of you have ever experienced the Houston Art Car Parade, that silicone is what they use to glue things to their cars, and it stays on. So silicone is really good too. Or today we're going to go ahead and, well, we have the tacky glue too. The thing about the tacky glue is it's going to take a while to dry, and it depends on how heavy is the jewelry that you're putting onto your project. Okay, so now,
can I make a recommendation?
Please make a recommendation.
When you're doing your jewelry, if you put it into plastic containers, it contains it a little bit more, and you're able
Okay.
to.
So what we do is we sort the jewelry into different bowls. So like, for instance, we may have a bunch of beads. Oh, Linda, I like this. I got a crucifix on top. Maybe that'd be a cool topper of my tree. I'm sorry, I'm finding stuff as I'm going through it. But anyway, you can kind of sort it so it's easier for you to find the jewelry instead of just having everything in a great big bag and looking for it that way. Linda, do we have more? While I'm talking about it,
Yeah.
more, just a necklace.
A necklace?
Okay, yeah, just a bead.
Big
Ooh,
old necklace.
that's stupid. So again, you can use whatever kind of beads you want, and this again, this is a total preference thing. So if you don't want to use a necklace for your border, you don't have to. You can just start filling in and using whatever you want for your tree. Okay. I'm just trying to find, I'm just way too picky, Linda. That's the problem.
No,
I'm
I
just
know
like,
you
yeah.
are.
It's like,
I know,
what
get
do I
the other
want?
bag out,
Okay. Anyway, so the thing, you're going to want to go ahead and pick your big things too. So remember, you're going to want a bottom for your tree that'll cover up your square base. And then you're going to want a topper for your tree. So while I was just looking, I found one of these crosses that has like a crucifix on it, or whatever. And so that I can use for my topper. So you're going to have room for your topper and for your bottom. And then it's just a matter of filling in with any kind of cool thing that you want to put in there. So I feel like I'm kind of clear as mud
You
right
really
now.
don't have to have a necklace to do the border. You could just
Yeah.
pick different pieces to
Yeah.
the border of it.
You could. I found a little necklace that has a little bit of a chain to it, and it has a few things here and there on it. But I kind of like this, Linda.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put my my glue onto my Christmas tree. So you're going to have to use your fingers to do the to fill the borders, but you can paint your glue onto your Christmas tree. Please, guys, if I'm not making sense, just let me know. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put some E6000 just because I happen to have it. But again, it's a preference. And E6000, the thing about E6000 is it is stinky. It smells like fumey. So, you know, you might do this like outdoors or something if you use E6000. A ventilated, well-ventilated area. Yeah.
Ceiling fan.
Yeah, things like that. Okay, so I'm putting my E6000 and this stuff is thick. It's thick, 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 thick. So way thicker. And you know what I'm finding, oh, you know what, Linda? I'm just remembering the E6000, it dries quick. So yeah, so I wouldn't do it like we did with the other tree where we just put it all on at one time. I kind of wouldn't do that because it does dry quicker. We haven't had our program since February. We miss our kiddos so much, but anyway, you kind of forget things when you're out of practice.
You're really doing well, Kathy.
Thank you.
Y'all are doing good with this.
Okay, great.
So.
Okay. So anyway, this E6000, if any of you guys are can see this, what I'm doing is I'm just using my paintbrush, and I would advise using a paintbrush or something on moving this E6000 around because it's kind of thick and funky glue, but very, very good for grabbing stuff. So I'm going to take my E6000 is a kind of a glue, and you can get it at Hobby Lobby or Walmart or anywhere, but it's just a heavy duty, and we get the clear glue. So you can just kind of get it at wherever. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we should have got probably something to cover the table, but we did it. So we move on. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking my necklace that I chose and I'm just putting it on the edges of my tree. Okay. And just to line it. And another thing you're going to find is you're not going to find a necklace that fits around it perfectly. So you have to be okay with like cutting up your jewelry or whatever. And that's basically what we do when we get this costume jewelry is we just break it up into beads and things that are easily accessible. Instead of like putting the whole necklace on it, we'll just cut it up. So I need some scissors, Linda.
Okay, here's my these.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, perfect. These are very good. Okay, she gave me some heavy duty scissors, so this is great. Okay, so now I have kind of a border going on, and I'm trying to get this camera. I'm not really remembering to do that. Okay, so I put a necklace around the border of this tree. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my topper to it, just so I remember that I give myself enough room for it. Okay, so I'm going to add, I don't think it's going to go anywhere because this glue is crazy. So I added my big old cross to the top of my Christmas tree. Another thing that's a lot of fun, guys, is back in the day, our grandmas used to wear a whole bunch of these pins, these jeweled pins. I believe they're called brooches. And if you can get a bunch of these, they're a lot of fun for toppers and bottoms and everything on your tree too. So another thing that's fun is getting old watches and using the watch face for those, or just to fill it in with. It just adds a fun little element to it and a cool texture. So anyway, so then I'm going to go ahead and see, we're just kind of doing this on the fly just to show you that this is the way you'll do it. You'll just get stuff out and you'll just start saying, oh, I really like the way this feels. And I found a little bead that has an interesting texture to it. You know what? I did move my E6000. Oh, I like those earrings. So the thing about earrings is if you have earring pieces, you can take the backs off, just like bend up, because a lot of them are just with that very thin, wiry kind of stuff, and they come off pretty easy. But you can even use earrings just for some little added texture to it too. So, but I like just finding interesting things and just putting them on because it doesn't matter. It's the point of it is it's just jewels. And I don't like to use a whole bunch of like plastic in this, but you could do that too. But I just think having like the different kinds of pendants that come off of necklaces and different kinds of jewels and things, and mix it up. Do a whole bunch of different stuff on there, because that you don't want it like super uniform. So one of our kiddos last year did her Christmas tree with Halloween jewelry. It was really cute. It turned out super cute. But oh, Linda. Now, another thing that I found is I found a bracelet that has strings of beads. Okay. So guess what I'm going to do with those strings of beads? I'm going to take them apart. Yeah, you just have to like be okay with ripping it apart. And now I have a small bracelet size string of beads that are really small. So that is going to be my garland. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap some of that, but it's small. So I think I'm going to go ahead and fill in my jewels first. So anybody have any questions? Are we being clear? I don't see any hands up right now. So if this isn't making sense or you have questions, please just chime in. We're not used to being the only voices whenever we're doing our thing.
It looks really nice, Katherine.
Thank you.
It looks very pretty.
Thank you. I also found a jewel here that's see-through. So I'm going to add that one on here. It's just got a little color. And I love doing this. This is so much fun. And let me see what else you're hiding over there, Linda. I want some more fun texture. Oh,
You know how I am.
Yeah,
I like
and-
to find the good stuff.
oh, this is cute. Okay, let's see. Find me a good base, Linda. That'll give you
So
something
you want
to.
the base
Yeah,
next?
a base. Find a fun base. So, ooh, and you know what else I found? You don't want all round either. Add some fun, like long pieces and different kinds of pieces to it.
Miss Kathleen, you have a hand up, by the way.
I will get one to Ron. I will do that, and I'll include all this information on it. And like Ron was saying, he's going to send out information after this is over to the participants, and I'll get it to him.
She's saying you have a hand raised.
Yeah, you have a hand raised.
Hey, I thought you asked if I had a hand. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Okay, Ned, I see your hand now. You're muted, Ned.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, my question is, you're using the word colorful.
Right,
Your
yeah.
jewelry, what colors are you putting on your tree?
Okay, what I'm using right now, I'm looking at it now, and there's a lot of silver. I've got some gold. I've got some, like jewels, like gemstones, like that are, you can they're translucent. They're colored, like this is green, but you can see through it. So I like a lot of different stuff on it. You can, and it's not, if you wanted like a monotone kind of color pattern, you could do that. But for this kind of project, I think it's more fun worried about the texture than, the colors, because it'll all blend because it's all jewelry. Okay. But
Thank you.
if we keep it like using jewels instead of plastic, I think that'll make it more interesting, because plastic feels like plastic. So anyway, do you see something, Linda? Okay.
What about these here?
It's got a note. Oh, that's fun. Oh, here's a big, ooh, I like this one because we kind of have some green in it. So what Linda found is a super cool rectangular shaped pendant that has that green gem in the middle of gold. So it's surrounded by gold. And so that is actually going to make a very good size base for our tree. I'm covering up my E6000 here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little E6000 to this because it's kind of a heavy jewel piece. So now I've got it at the bottom. Oh, Linda, it's just filling in so pretty. Good. So once you get like filled in with the bigger pieces you want to add, you're going to see that you have a lot of little pieces, a lot of little spaces left over. So that's where your tiny jewels come in. So you're going to see that as you start getting these, if you get donations of beads, or a lot of times in Goodwill, you can buy like a bag of them, like they put all this costume jewelry in one thing. And you just like break them apart, and you're going to have beads of all kinds of different sizes and shapes and colors and textures. And anyway, so you can use some of your smaller beads, but I like to get different shapes. I don't want them all to be round. So I've got this one in my hand right now that's kind of shaped like a shell. It's kind of cool looking, and it's a different color. So I'm adding those little pieces just to fill in where the big pieces, have left space. So let me see. I know, probably would have been really great if we would have had it all ready to go, but that would have been no fun.
That's not how we operate.
We just don't roll like that. We like playing.
Spare in the moment. Do it as is.
Oh, I even have some jewels here that look like sequins. So you can even use some nice sequins in it too, just to give it some extra bling to it. So let's see. I get bored quick, so I have to have a whole bunch of different options, different containers with different kinds of stuff in it. They have some jewels that are in the shape of different kinds of gold coins and so many different things. It's just so much fun to play with. And again, if you want, you can also use your beads to do your garlands and fill-ins and these bracelets. And bracelets are cool because they kind of come with a whole lot of stuff. I have a bracelet that's actually, if you cut it up, Linda, look, it's going to be in the shape, the big pieces are in the shape of a big old square, but it has a whole bunch of different jewels within the square. So whatever jewelry you get, just play with it.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Yeah, rip it apart. You're not going to wear it. You're just going to. And it takes on a whole different life of itself when you start ripping it apart and you look at the pieces individually, that, oh my gosh, these are way different. Because that's kind of how they put jewelry together. They want it interesting. So, but when you see it as a whole, you kind of get one picture of it. But once you start tearing it apart, it's just really interesting to start looking at. So I'm going to add some various things to mine, and at the stage that I'm at right now, I'm just doing my fill-in. So I have most of my big pieces already covered. So now I'm just taking various little pieces and just filling in. And you're going to find too that some of them are going to overlap, and that's okay because it's just going to add greater texture and interest to what you got going on. So but this is super fun. We did this last year and we just brought in boxes of different kinds of costume jewelry, and we just let the kids go and gather whatever they wanted to put on their trees, and they just dug through boxes just like we're doing and saying, oh, this feels cool. And I think they had a really good time.
Oh, they had a fabulous time.
I think this is our most commented on project. And I think whenever I spoke with Stacy and she said, well, we'd like them to be able to do some things that they can give as presents, I was like, this is perfect because I don't care who you give it to, they're going to like it. This is so cool. Just the different options. And another thing is if you have somebody that has some kind of particular hobby, I'm just thinking off the cuff, so if it doesn't make sense, I'm sorry, but I'm just thinking like, even for a guy that likes fishing or whatever, you could use like fishing tackle or whatever to fill in your Christmas tree or, anything. Just get creative and just have fun with it. And that's going to be the best thing. And so our point, oh, that's an angel. Our point of why we do this kind of thing is because we want our kids to see that just because you can't see it doesn't mean you can't do super cool stuff that you love. I mean, you can really enjoy doing this without seeing it because, as long as your pieces are all kind of the same concept, you're doing all jewelry and art is art. So whatever you want to put out there really is okay. But just for the sighted world we live in, this stuff it's going to go great. I think anybody will love it. So I'm just seeing. Okay, I guess I need to quit being so picky and just start filling it in.
Filling in. What you got over there? Move on.
Yeah, I'm just, I don't want to look like the same stuff. So what I'm going to do now, just because oh, these are flowers. Yeah, what I'm finding is a lot of brooches too, you know, those little pins that people put on their little scarves and stuff. So anyway, just break it apart, have fun with it. But the brooches are super awesome for your bases of your Christmas tree because they're usually, you know, in that kind of a shape. That's cool. So, or different shapes. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm just filling in. I have a couple more spaces, and you know what? I still want to add my some more garland to it. So I'm taking my little, now I put some garland in at first, and by garland I mean my bracelet that had beads on it, just strings of beads. And I found that it kind of got lost in my jewelry. So if you put your garland on last, you can kind of wrap it around to where it fits within your blank spaces too. So it's kind of cool. And it also does a lot of this filler for the room. Now, we did say the E6000 dries very quickly, but not so much that you can't move the jewelry around in it, because I'm finding that if I'm filling in the spaces with something that's a little bigger than that area, it's still pliable enough that you can move it around and fill it and you know, put stuff in it. So let's see, a little bit of this. Okay. Please chime in if you have any questions whatsoever. Okay. So just for kind of an idea for those of you who may be able to see this, in that amount of time, I made a piece of Christmas art that is super fun. It's so cool. Look at Linda, did it turn out pretty good? Okay, and now you have, and you know what? You know where we got this idea? I'm going to tell you. We were at a it was a Christmas show. Yeah, we went to a Christmas market kind of thing. And literally, they had these, and they were selling them from $40 to $60 a piece. And this is exactly what they did. They took old jewelry and put it in the shape of a Christmas tree. They had some in the shape of snowmen, Christmas ornaments, but they simply used a frame. And we got frames from the Dollar Tree too, but this is worth a trip to Goodwill to get some of the nicer frames. And we didn't pay more than $1.99 for a frame. And usually we went on teacher discount day, so we got $1.50. So anyway, I hope everybody's okay with us talking budget, but this is the way we roll. So anyway, but you can get some really nice textured, thick, heavier frames, very cheap, you know, at resale shops and places or garage sales, or just heck, just see what you have at home already, because you know we all have old pictures that you don't even put out. So anyway, but this is a nice quality gift. So I'm super excited about it. Does anybody have any questions about it whatsoever? And this is literally just, and it didn't even use that much jewelry. So even if you got just a bag of old jewelry, I mean, you don't want to use grandma's pearls necessarily on this, but or diamonds or anything like that. But the costume jewelry, you know, a lot of people have that paparazzi jewelry, or you know, just old jewelry, just old, they call it costume jewelry, that's, you know, not high dollar. Then just tear it up and play. So that's our whole deal. We play. So that gives you 2 Christmas tree ideas for what you can do. Now, in the same spirit with that Christmas tree, what Linda did is she went to the Dollar Tree, and at all times of years anyway, but this time of year, you can get the big, they're called charger plates. They're the big round platters, and you can get them in textures like the one she actually used for our example today is like a basket weave kind of texture to it, but it's a bright, shiny Christmas red. So this charger, what she did was she used the actual Christmas music sheet and she cut that into the shape of a Christmas tree. And so she glued the Christmas tree shaped music piece onto and it fits perfectly in the center of this platter, because a charger plate, like the center of it is sunken in and the outside edges are higher, they're raised. Okay, so the big sunken in plate part is what she filled with this shape of a Christmas tree, but it's cut out of, and you can, again, use any paper you want, but if you can get like the shape and interesting paper, and scrapbook paper is great for this, anything that if you could get it a shape of a Christmas tree, glue it down with whatever would you use?
Used tacky glue, but on top of it, I put Mod Podge.
Okay.
The Mod Podge was really important because it holds the paper down and it doesn't.
Oh yeah, so it's not going to tear,
Yeah,
and
tear.
that's a great tip, because I didn't even think about that. But yeah, well, after she glued the Christmas tree onto the plate, she put a coat of Mod Podge across it. And Mod Podge is kind of a protectant sealant on it. So you let that dry a little bit, and it strengthens the paper, so it's not just going to like peel off, and it's not going to scratch off and things like that. So a lot of people do that whenever they do decoupage. They'll put that Mod Podge over it. So anyway, but this is super awesome. She used the same concept, but this time, since she used interesting paper for the Christmas tree, she wanted it to shine through. She wanted to be able to see the paper, but she wanted her Christmas tree decorated as well. So this is what Linda did on her tree. She lined the tree a border of very small jeweled necklace. So the necklace has tiny jewels on it. It's not going to cover up a whole lot of her Christmas tree, but it's going to give a definite border and interest to it. Her necklace that she used, you can see like the gold chain. You can see various colored sizes and shapes of beads that are not right next to each other, but they're spread out. So you'll have like you'll see a little bit of chain, you'll see a little bit of small gold beads, and then you'll see like various sizes and shapes of colored beads just interspersed around her whole triangle once she's finished. Okay, and she did it to where it just covered around the top part of the Christmas tree. So her base of the Christmas tree, she used, again, one of those brooches, one of those pins that has a big chunky jewel on it. And hers has a dangling off the bottom of it that has like a dangled, big, thick, chunky jewel. So she used that for the base of her Christmas tree. She actually found some angel wings in some of the jewelry, and she put that at the top.
That was actually an earring.
Oh, it was an earring,
Yeah.
Angel earring. So she just took that apart and glued it for her tree topper. And then on top of her angel wing, she glued additional beads on top of that. So you can decorate your decorations, okay? That's a lot of fun too, that you can just stack your beads and stack your jewelry, and it's gonna just add to it. Now for the bulk of her Christmas tree covering, in the center, what she used is a big chunky brooch that has a whole bunch of different colored stones on it. So it's in the shape of a Christmas wreath. Okay, so it's just a circle, a circular, big, thick jewel. And it's very interesting, and I love it because it's chunky. So it's got different textures, and you can feel where one bead stops and another one starts. So think about that sort of thing. If you're going to do this project, you want it texturally interesting. And it made it really cool that it was in the shape of a circle, because it gave one big focus point on her Christmas tree. And then she put just a few different kinds of beads, and she used like metal beads and some gold beads and different, and these her beads that she chose for her Christmas balls, she actually used all round ones. So this has more of a Christmas tree decorated feel than the tree we just made. But again, this is beautiful. So once she had her tree made, she decorated, remember the edges of the platter are raised. So she decorated the edges of the platters just probably every 5 inches or so. She added a bead around it just to give it some more interest around the plate. Okay, around the top of it, just to, so it's not overwhelming that it's just taken over it. It's just adding a little bit more textural interest around the edges. So it makes it look more complete. But what I love is at the bottom of it, she used, some fell off. But anyway, she used some round jewels to make a Braille quote at the bottom. And what was this supposed to say?
I don't remember.
Okay, so it could say Mary, it could say joy, it could say love or whatever, but this is a fun place for you to express your Braille. And we love it when we can incorporate Braille into our work, because then it looks interesting for the sighted. And what's way cool about it for the sighted is it's kind of like a secret message, you know? So when your friends come over, they're like, oh, that's cool. And you can tell them what it says or whatever. But it's also interesting if you're giving this as a gift for a person who's blind and reads Braille, they can, you know, get that extra little piece of Christmas greeting to them too. So I love it when we can include Braille in there. So this was kind of an older piece, so some of it fell off. So maybe think about that whenever you're using your adhesive.
Those were the jewels, the sticky jewels.
Okay.
And I put them on there without putting glue to them.
Yeah, don't do that. It, like I said, we were saying you can get a lot of this stuff from the Dollar Tree that's it's pre-glued, so it's like the sticky stickers, basic gym stickers. Go ahead and add extra glue to it because it's not going to stay on. So anything you're going to put, especially onto plastic, and the fact that this plastic is textured as well, anything like that, you're going to want to have to think about your adhesive and use a strong adhesive just so it can grip in between those edges of the basket weave and things like that. But this again is a super awesome idea for a present. Now, what you could do with this is they have plate holders you can get at Dollar Tree too that they can use just to like a plate stand, and they could stand it up on their Christmas table. Or I bet you could even
there's the picture frame holders that go on the table.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, picture frame holders. Yeah, that too. Okay. So, and then they also have, like, you can add a little something to the back of it to hang it on the wall. Now, again, I'm going to tell you the budget thing that we've done before, and it's the pull tabs off of cans. So you simply glue the pull tab to the back of your picture and then bend it to where the hole in the pull tab is at the top, and then there you go, is your picture hanger. So anyway, but we have an extra one here just to show that they do come in different textures, different colors. Right now, what's really hot out there is red and gold for Christmas. The gold platter is not a basket weave. It's got actually bumps around the edges of it. But all of the charger plates have the sunken center, and that's where you're going to do the bulk of your Christmas decoration. And then the outside, you'll just do simple decorations around. Okay. So you can change this to adding, like, again, like we said, we're doing the Christmas tree shape today, but you can do whatever shape you want. You can make it round in the shape of like a Christmas ornament, or you can use the snowman shape. And another thing that they have right now at they always have a Dollar Tree. It's getting limited right now. So the one I went to are these chipboard. It's kind of a chipboard shaped cutout. Okay, so it feels like wood, but it's very, very light, and it's already cut out into a shape. The one that I'm holding right now is a heart shape. I've seen them in Christmas ornament shapes. I've seen them in snowman shapes. I've seen them. What they have a lot is the words. So you'll see like it's like print words. But for instance, we had one that said LOVE, and the V was like in the shape of a heart. but that's where you can add your braille to it, which is one of the things. I wish we would have brought that in, but okay. Anyway, it's just a pre-done sign. Okay, so you can decorate it however you want. You know, you can add paint to it, you can add glitter, you can add whatever element you want to cover it up. But then what you do is you add the braille to the print letter. For instance, if it says love, then you just put your 3 dots, dot 1, 2, 3 for your L. And then on the O itself, you're going to use some kind of, and there's all kinds of different things that you can use for a braille dot. Okay. You can, again, use your jeweled, you know, your beads. You can also use another thing that I got. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it. At Dollar Tree, they have these stones that are flat on one side, but they're glass stones and they're colored on, they're colored stones. They're rounded on the top, but they're flat on the bottom. So this makes a perfect braille dot to glue down onto those letters. So these are fun. You can use what you can, they have clear, they have blue, green, gold, all kinds of different colors on those stones. Another thing I saw last night where they had a bag of stones just like that, but in some pretty jeweled colors. So it's kind of an iridescent-y green color. And in that same bag, they have some marbles. Okay, I didn't know. I heard a ding dong, so I was seeing if somebody's hand was raised. I'm not
No,
seeing it.
that's just somebody was going back into the chat.
Okay, got it. All right. But in that same bag, they had some marbles, some totally round marbles that you could do some really cool stuff with too. And they have different shapes of rocks. The reason I'm showing you this is because your braille can be whatever, but you want to kind of have that flat side to make your life easier so it doesn't roll around and it's easier to adhere to it, given it that dry time. But I wanted you to know that there are some that look like pearls. They're just iridescent, but they have that flat side. Now, I'm showing right now a sign that's the love sign. Okay, it doesn't have the heart. It's just LOVE, but it's just simply a big print L connected to a big print O, you know, and each letter is just connected. So they're painted, we painted them, but Linda added the braille, the big stones that I'm talking about. So she has dot 1, 2, 3 for her L. And then on the actual O, she has the braille O, the braille V, and the braille E. So that adds that extra element to it too. And it's really cool because what we're seeing is, you know, a lot of sighted people are very, very interested in braille. Okay, so even though they can't read it, like I was saying, it's kind of got that cool factor that it's a secret code, you know, and it's just it's really kind of cool. And it adds a whole lot to your art. We just really love using it when we can. Okay, any questions so far? We're rocking and rolling. Okay, then let me see what else you have here, Linda.
That's what I did when I was at art con.
Okay. Another thing we like to do, that's another idea, and on that same idea with the braille, is Linda took a large canvas, and what they have is these canvas boards, because used to you could only get the canvas that was on that chunky frame, but now they just have a canvas board. You can paint it whatever color you want. You can do whatever you want to the actual background. But what she did was she used a dark purple, kind of a shiny purple background. And then she used clear beads to write a message in braille on this. And you know what? I've gone on Etsy and I've seen them sell things like this that's just got a secret braille message on it, and they sell it for a lot of money. But this is like an 8x10 frame. She wrote, let me see, believe, what does it say? Hope and dream. Believe, hope, dream is what she wrote. So you can just take whatever quote you want and add using those braille stones. Again, if you use the clear ones, whatever your background is just going to shine through it. But if you separate each letter good enough, then, you know, you're going to be able to feel the different, read the different words. Okay, I see a hand, Liz. You're muted, Liz.
Hello. I was curious, how do you keep the braille straight? Are you just kind of eyeballing it and imagining where the 6-dotted cell would be, or do you use any sort of a straight edge, or what are your
Yeah.
techniques for that?
Ruler.
Yeah, a ruler
Just
across
on
it.
top, Yeah.
Yeah, just putting a ruler straight across it. You can do that. Other things we have done is we found things that have like 6 holes in them, and we've tried to use it for like a stencil, but really, honestly, it's not going to be pristine and perfect. And that's okay because it's art. So I like using it free-handed more than I liked using the stencil. Okay, because it's
The things with these beads here, these jewels, is that they are way the sizes of them, they fit the 6-dot space just right, so you can put 6 of them in there, and you can. I just put all 6 down, and I took out the ones I needed to take out.
Oh, that's a good idea
Yeah,
too.
it's
Just
just-
add 6 on your straight edge. Just do your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and take away the ones you don't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an idea. But then you're still going to have to glue it down.
Yeah, well, I was, I did one letter at a time.
Yeah.
And then I worked my way across.
Yeah. Does that make sense? That you can start with the 6 and remove the ones you don't want? Because, okay, by starting with 6, what we mean is she has the jewels actually touching. So they're actually touching each other. But due to the fact that they're rounded on the top, there's not a space between the round. Does that make sense? So she physically has her 6 beads just laid down in the braille pattern, touching each other. So you have your 1, 2, 3. So 1 and 3 are actually touching each other, and 1 and 2 are touching each other. So it's all down just a big, like a full cell with every dot touching each other. Does that make sense? And then it's going to be together, and you take away the ones you don't want for your letter. So for instance, for her believe, she left 1, 2 there and took away 3, 4, 5, 6, so it's 1, 2 is straight where she wants it. Does that make sense? Because that's a lot of things that we thought about too, but I do like that idea of putting them together, because it can be a little tricky on the braille. But again, we've seen so many, and they're not pristine and perfect, and they're not supposed to be, because honestly, it's not a braille, it's not like a small braille cell. It's just a representation. Yeah. So, and it's art, so it's okay. So you don't have to, the one thing about our projects is you can't get hung up on perfection. Okay. You just have to express your creativity. Okay. It's just a fun way to express your creativity. And even if it's not perfect, it's still art and it still looks great. Okay. Does that make sense, Amanda? Did that clarify it for you, Amanda?
Oh, hi, it was Liz that asked, but
Sorry,
yes.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
Thanks for the ideas.
Okay, great. Okay. Yeah. Another thing that whenever I was talking about doing the pre-cutouts, how are we doing on time? Are we okay on time?
We're good.
Okay, all right. Another thing that I was going to talk about is whenever we're doing these, the pre-cutouts, I like using the pre-cutouts because I would say they're about 8 inches tall and maybe 8 inches wide or something. I'm just eyeballing it and guessing, but they're a big solid size of a chunk of wood. Okay. So if you want it, this is a fun thing to decorate too. Like I said, for today's purposes, I just found a heart because that's something that you can use for any season really. But on this, there's all kinds of things that you can add to your art to make it tactual. Okay. We're big fans of tactual. Everything has to be able, for our kids to be able to enjoy it, they have to be able to touch it and have, tactual interest to them. So And one of the things that I like doing is using various things for my background. So I was playing around in Dollar Tree last night and I came across, what would you call this, Linda? It's like broke, I don't want to say broken glass. It doesn't have sharp edges, okay? It's just like chopped up,
It's
crushed what? Crushed glass. Well, they call it crushed glass, but again, it is not sharp. You will not get cut on it. It's got, the edges are very smooth, but again, like when you crush anything, I don't know if you've ever broken a glass or a plate or anything, it's different sizes, like the pieces are going to come out all kinds of different sizes. So what would be fun with this particular project, if I wanted this for my background, I would just, again, like I did with the first Christmas tree, is I would just cover this whole thing with tacky glue, okay? Or whatever glue you choose. But yeah, tacky glue I think would be best in this case, because they're not terribly heavy. Yeah, I know. What I'm doing that Linda's laughing at me about is I took the lid off of the tacky glue and I'm literally just globbing it on there. So again, you can use your paintbrush to move it around. You can use craft sticks, popsicle sticks, or whatever. But basically, again, just like the other, I'm painting with tacky glue. And the reason I want it all on there is because what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to cover it. I'm going to just like kind of drop the beads or the jewels or whatever I want on here, and it's going to land where it may. Okay, so I want glue to be wherever it lands. Okay, because you know, when our kids are doing this stuff, they just want to have fun. They just want to do stuff that's like really no rhyme or reason. They want it to be their expression. And if you get nothing else out of this today, the main thing I want you to know is have fun. It doesn't matter if they tell you that art is just for a visual thing. It's not. Art is expressing yourself and your creativity and your, I wonder what this would do. Do it. Try it. Just throw it on there, check it out, and use anything. And really big inspirations for us too. We met a lot of the people that are in the Houston Art Car Parade Club, and they are so, I mean, it's just like a VI dream, really, because everything they do on their cars, you know, for the most part, is tactual. And if you ever have the opportunity to go to one of the parades, we were so lucky that we were able to actually be in a parade a couple of years ago. We were signed up for this year too, but COVID got us, so we weren't able to have the parade this year. But we met a lot of the artists that participate in those parades, and what they do, again, like I was saying, is they use silicone and they will glue whatever they want to their car. They will make it into sculptures. We saw some people that had like welded metal pieces on their car or whatever. And the reason I'm telling you this is if you ever have the opportunity to go to the art car parade, you wouldn't think that that would be something that blind people would enjoy, but let me tell you, before the parade, I want to say several hours before the parade, probably like 3 or 4 hours before the parade even starts, all of the cars are lined up along Allen Parkway. That's where they usually have it. And you can actually go walk up and down those lines of cars and you can touch them. You can feel them. You can talk to the artist. You can see the different kinds of art they do. And that is like dream day for VI, because there's no museum that you can go to and just check out all the art and touch it. They're like, no, you can't touch that. That's art. You can't touch it. Art car parade day, go check it out. You got to go do that. If that's something that you could make your way to, that is a phenomenal time to just go experience. And the people are so much fun. They are just, you know, creative individuals, are crazy and fun, and you know, they just have so much fun.
Well,
So, but
Kathy, can I jump in here with you?
absolutely.
You know, because I know we've got a couple of people here who are not in Houston.
Okay.
And I don't know if they've heard of the Art Car Parade, but it's a unique thing that Houston has. I mean, they decorate their cars Kathy, you know Kenda Greer?
Yes, I do. I
You know,
sure do. I worked
she
with
used to
her.
have an art car. She used to be in that parade.
Oh, cool.
And she bought it from someone who was in the, and it had like a mermaid head at the front and a tail sticking up in the back.
Oh,
And she took it and made it totally different.
uh-huh.
And she decorated it. Had so many tactile things she glued onto the exterior of the cars. A lot of these glass beads, like you were talking about, spelling out different things, but they were in color. So they were tactile, but they were also visual art.
Right.
So those of y'all who don't know what the art car parade is, Google that, Houston Art Car Parade. You'll be impressed. And that was one of y'all's first things y'all did was
Yes, it was because when we first started, we were literally, I had a kid in, that was one of my students, and he had, well, let me just say his good eye was 2,800. So he had very, very, very poor vision, and he was an artist. He loved to draw. So he was actually in high school in a drawing class, and his nose was literally black. I could tell, oh, you just came from art class, because his nose would touch the paper, but he was so into it. And and honestly, and he had a lot of depression. And the only thing that seemed to kind of pull him out of it was whenever I was like, okay, we've done this, let's take a break and let's do some art. And that would pull him out of it, and he would lighten up, and he just loved art so much. So I was like, oh, there's got to be somewhere, when we take them on the little VI field trips and things like that. CBIs is what they call them now. But anyway, when we take them somewhere, I was like, well, maybe we could find an art museum or something that they can go and they can actually touch the art. But Linda and I went out. We went everywhere to the museums, and they're like, oh, that's a cool idea, but they can't touch it. It's art. And so that frustrated us so bad. We even took a trip to the craft museum. There's a craft museum down by all the, in the art district, and talked to them because theirs is textiles and different things that they use. But again, they're like, that's a cool idea, but they can't touch it. I'm like, it's yarn. Come on, let them touch it. But anyway, so we had dead end after dead end after dead end on it. And so that's how we decided we're going to just go ahead and do this and let these kids get together, and they're going to do art themselves. So we started it, and then I was still looking, like the whole time we were looking, and I came across an art car artist named Bonnie Blue, and she's amazing. She's like befriended us now. She helped us through getting through it. But she was in the art car club, because I was looking up art cars. I'm like, surely these people will let us. But I called the art car club themselves, and they said that there's a museum, an art car museum, but again, they have the cars roped off and wouldn't let anybody touch them. So I saw Bonnie Blue had a website, and you can look her up too. And she was saying that on art car, the week before the art car parade, they have different things that different activities that they do. And one of them is kind of a parade that they do. So all these art cars get together at Memorial Park, and they go off in different directions. And what they try to do is go through like some of the elementary schools and some of the neighborhoods that they don't feel like those kids would have the opportunity to come to the parade or whatever. And Bonnie said that she always likes to get on the route that goes to the Lighthouse for the Blind in Houston. Cool. So she likes to go through there so they can actually touch her car. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the lady I need. So I actually reached out to her, and she took us under her wing. She thought that it was the coolest thing ever. So I said, how can we get involved? And I just thought, well, how can my kids like go touch your art? And she's like, oh no, you have to be in the parade. You need to come get in the parade. I was like, okay, let's do it. So we had the kids just create a bunch of art, and we had a musical instrument theme, and we had people that donated various instruments. We had trumpets and bongos and drum heads and all kinds of various instruments. And we just let our kids art them, do whatever they wanted to create their own art with these instruments. And one of the dads let us use his truck and his trailer. and we made it. We arted up the truck and the trailer. The kids piled in the back of the trailer, and they actually got to go participate in the art car parade. It was amazing. It was so much fun. But while we were there, you know, we let the kids go up and down the road, and they were able to experience all these art cars. And it's just it's so much fun. So anyway, that's kind of where we got our kickoff, really. I mean, we had already started the program with the kids by that time, but it was like a couple of months into it that we got to participate in that first art car parade.
Yeah,
So
no,
it was so cool.
it was January. We started up, and then the following month we decided, okay, we're gonna do art car, and off we went. So
Yeah,
we had 2
by
months,
April.
2 months to get ready.
Yeah, it was the funnest thing though. The kids had so much fun. They interviewed us on ABC 13 News, and they were out at the parade and talked to us. So it was just a lot of fun. The kids were like the superstars of the day. It was so cool.
I think your organization is a cool story. Like I said at the beginning, it was a good idea and even a greater organization. You know, once you launched it, it just took off. And I knew that art car parade played a key part at the beginning. And
Yeah.
I just think it's great to hear y'all's story there from y'all. You were there.
Yeah.
This is your baby.
It is. Yeah. And we sure have missed our babies showing up this year too.
Yeah.
You know, COVID's been hard for us, but you know, hopefully.
In the world of touch, being socially distant doesn't work well. But
Exactly. I know. So,
but
well, let's just work on some ideas.
And I didn't mean to sidetrack you. If y'all have another project y'all want to discuss, but
yeah.
I'm sorry. I just think y'all have a great story, and y'all. You said earlier your website is what?
Creatingwithblindabandon.com.
Okay, not nice and easy to remember.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So, but I'll let you run on. But I just, while y'all were talking about the art car parade, I wanted everyone to hear the story direct from y'all, because I think it's fascinating.
Tell me.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me where our logo came from.
Oh, okay. Now, again, Linda just reminded me, my student that inspired this whole idea, he was an excellent artist, and he allowed us to use one of his drawings for our logo for our program. So it's like this dogfish, and it's super colorful and bright, and we actually got his permission to use it for our logo. So we're super excited about that. Yeah. You know him. You know who he is.
Yes.
He's an awesome, awesome guy. So anyway, so what I was talking about before on the cutout heart, what I did was I covered it. I just covered it with the tacky glue, and then literally I just sprinkled these glass pieces all over it. And it happens to be green crushed glass that I'm using right now, but I'm sure there's all kinds of colors. And I think what would be a lot of fun with a project like this is if you had various colors, because to me, it reminds me of sea glass, if you've had the opportunity of experiencing that, the sea glass. So what I would like to do with something like this is sprinkle it with sand. And but first I would put all my different colors of sea glass all over it, and then sprinkle it with sand and add that beachy element to it. That would be a lot of fun. And then another thing that's a lot of fun with it, if I'm going with the beach theme, is at Dollar Tree as well. You can get all kinds of shells, seashells. They have little packets, and you can get various sizes of seashells. So you can intersperse some of the different chunky seashells in here. Once you have your base down of what you want, what I would do is fill it in, just sprinkle sand all over it, okay? And then I would let it dry and then lift it up and just tap the extra sand out of it. Yeah, and then what do you have? Okay, Linda brought out buckets of fun. That's what we call all of our stuff. We have buckets of fun. So she just brought out some tiny little beads that we have. They're just, I've got green, so anything really. But anyway, so you can do art with something like this, and you can use, you know, the favorite color of whoever you're giving it to, or your own, or whatever. But this will be such a fun piece. Now, if I was doing this for a beach, another thing that would be fun to border, I'm a big fan of borders on this stuff. So I would use some twine, some little rope twine. And again, you can get that at Dollar Tree too. But you can get various sizes of the twine too. And you can just glue it around the edges. This would be super cool if it was in like a, you know, a different kind of shape. But yeah, green's fine. Okay. Oh, so Linda, yeah, that came from Dollar Tree, didn't it?
Yes, sure did.
So they even have green twine, which really kind of goes with our little project we're doing here. So anyway, but I like this idea. You can even do this for Christmas and just use reds and greens and whatever, really. I say that, and I'm looking at a pink and white Christmas tree in my living room right now. So, you know, whatever your color is, do your thing. That's the way I think about it. So you can just, what I'm doing right now is I'm taking some very thin twine. And remember, I already put the glue all over my heart. I glued all over my heart. So all I'm literally doing is just wrapping this very thin twine along the edges of my heart shape. So yeah, that's the fun thing. I don't know. I hope you guys can appreciate the, you know, the frugality of it. You know, we try to do things as inexpensive as possible.
These are
So I'm still wrapping my edges. And then when I get to the end, what is this? And again, it's art. I don't know if you guys are in Houston, they have this little place called the Art Asylum, the Houston Art Asylum, or Texas Art, what is it? Texas Art Asylum? Texas Art Asylum. Yeah, and since we are teachers, they have like a once a month sale that teachers can go in this room and just fill a bag full of
a brown paper bag.
A brown paper bag full of whatever. And what they are, okay, it's a store that like artists donate all their leftovers to. Okay, so if you want to express your creativity, that's a place to go check out, because they have okay, for an example of some of the stuff they have like baby doll pieces. So if you're like into creepy art or whatever, like you could go buy the baby doll pieces and make an art out of that. Or they have all kinds of different things that you can just go. We've gotten scrapbooking paper. We've gotten, oh my gosh, you name it and you can get it there. It's different, but like paints and things like that. It's not like a new store. It's kind of like an art resale store is basically what it is. So people just donate whatever they have left over. We've got. Oh, Nicole, did you have a question? I see Nicole. No? Okay. Well, we've gotten everything from like wine corks to various shaped bottles to anything like game pieces, whatever. And we love going there because that's where we get a lot of our materials for our club. And then our kids just take this stuff and run with it. So it's a lot of fun. It's if you can find a place like that, you know, your local area, then that's a lot of fun too, to go to any of those little resale places and just check it out. What feels good? What feels like it would be interesting to you? That's what you want to start thinking about with art. It doesn't matter, you know, it's just about expressing your own creativity. Give me a little more. I kind of feel like I feel like it's kind of a jalapeno right now. I don't know. Oh, you know what? Holly. It kind of looks like holly.
There you go.
Holly leaves. So what we're doing now is we're adding a little bit. Remember, I sprinkled my heart with all these green crushed rocks. Now we have some tiny, tiny, bright red little beads that I'm just kind of throwing in there too. And it's funny because, you know, it's kind of like not a huge plan, but it kind of looks like holly all over my heart now. So I have crushed green rocks and red small beads. So it looks like the little holly berries that are added in the green leaves. So that's a lot of fun too. Okay, and then again, you can add different things you want for your background, just different stuff to, because I put the glue all over it, and I'm pretty sure it'll dry clear, but just in case, you know, you can add anything you want, any kind of little pearls or anything. For this particular project, I want my holly design to kind of stand out, but I do want some interesting things in the background. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding some various clear and pearl and white and, you know, some stuff to kind of blend in the background. And you know what, I'm digging into my jewelry beads. So I'm adding things that are kind of monotone, but they're all kinds of different sizes and shapes, but they're keeping that consistent neutral tone for the background. So no matter what I add, if I keep it in those neutral tones, it's adding that interest, that texture interest, but it's not taking away from the big design that I want. Okay. So let me see. I'm just filling in. Like I said, that you just have to play with it. You just have to see what works for you. And the thing about it is it's just fun. It's just so much fun to just do. Just go, yeah, just throw some in there, Linda.
That time I played.
Yeah, you need to play too. You're letting me have all the fun.
I know, I always
So,
do.
but really, guys, these are all a lot of fun. But if you can do any of them, man, you just got to give that jewelry Christmas tree idea a try. Or any, I mean, even if Christmas trees are not your thing, just some kind of jeweled shape. So whatever shape is of interest to you, you know. Oh, you know, it would be way cool if you have a little ballerina girl in your life. You could do like a ballerina cutout and do it with like pink and white jewels and just have the shape of the ballerina just in made out of jewels. I know little girls would absolutely adore that. So, you know, just think outside of your box. We live outside of a box. We don't even, I don't think we own a box. So, anyway, just get your creativity going. So anything else that we got on this one?
I think we're good almost there.
Okay, let's see. I just don't know if it's going to dry, you know, dry. Well, you know what happens if it dries and I don't like it, then I add more glue and I add more to it. So here we go. I think I do need a little more of my rocks in here though. Add some more rocks, some more holly leaves. Yeah, because some spots don't have a lot of green. Okay, anyway, so these are some ideas, but what I kind of would like to know is, do any of you guys have any questions or any kind of ideas that you think would make a cool art project that maybe we might be able to provide some ideas, or you could, you know, give us, oh, I like that one. Give us some ideas on things you think would be fun for us to do with kids. Now, see, I'm kind of lifting up my holly heart, my hollyberry heart. And again, Dollar Tree's fantastic because it comes cut out. The shape is already cut out. So it's wonderful. But anybody have any questions or any ideas that you think would be cool for us to do, or anything?
And if they think of something after this is over, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
They can email us at creatingwithblindabandon.com.
Okay, so your name first or what?
No, creatingwithblindabandon@gmail.com.
Okay.
Excuse me, I said it wrong.
Okay, good deal. That's what I want to make sure. And,
Yeah.
And I will include that in the follow-up email as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I think a lot of what y'all have done generalizes to other ideas. You know, the projects, the shapes, you know, you might have talked about Christmas items or winter items, you know, snowman or Christmas trees, but so much of this can generalize to other themes, like y'all did the beach theme,
Sure.
just there. So, and
Yeah, another thing, as soon as we do go back to face to face, if you guys like this kind of stuff, I mean, we do it for kids, but we also have a lot of adult volunteers that come and help the kids too with the project. So, if anybody has an interest in that kind of stuff, just let us know. And, you know, hopefully we'll get back to that soon. If not, if you want it to be added on to our Zooms, that would be good too. Just send us your email address and we can get in
So,
contact with
so,
you.
so y'all will be doing Zooms?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'd
I,
probably start at the beginning of the year, get through
yeah,
the holidays, and then,
I, I'm glad to hear that. And we do have a question, Shelby.
Okay, Shelby, what's your question?
Hey, Kathy. Do you guys have like social media, like Facebook, Twitter, things like that?
Yeah, we are on Facebook and we also have Instagram, but we're not real.
What's your handle? What's your Facebook and Instagram handle?
It's Creating with Blind Abandon. Just,
Okay, just check.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just checking.
We're not real
Yeah.
creative with our handles, but
That's fine.
consistent.
Hey, no big deal. Y'all gotta save your creativity for your projects.
That's right. Well, we're consistent across the board. That's what it is. We'll go with that.
Anybody have any questions, thoughts, suggestions? I appreciate you two sharing your afternoon with us. And
Absolutely. Hey, can any of you guys tell us what's your experience with art? What do you do with art? Anybody want to share anything that you've made, or
I will
how
if
do
they
you feel
don't.
about art?
This is Shelby real quick. So, okay, so I have a lot of experience using pipe cleaners and picture frames and beads and stuff like that. But I also have experience with like puff paint. Yes, puff paint on cardboard. You can do that, or you could also do like you can like make you could actually make costume jewelry as you mentioned. And you can also do abstract work, painting abstracts and I've had a lot of experience. And also putty, putty and Play-Doh, things like that.
Sure. We actually have used clay with our kiddos, the quick drying clay. So
yeah, clay too, but also Play-Doh, like just especially with you have children with cerebral palsy or other fine motor challenges. You can work with that too. That's an idea.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. We actually tried. What did we do? We added Kool-Aid.
That was an experience.
Was it to clay or was it to paint?
No, it was to paint.
Okay.
Kool-Aid and paint do not work.
Well, we worked on Pinterest for some ideas of adding, like we wanted to do some scents, add some smell to our paint. So one of the suggestions on Pinterest, and we call it a Pinterest fail now because it did not work, but we tried. And you just take the Kool-Aid packets and you mix it to the paint and you stir it all up, and it's supposed, because Kool-Aid has that very fragrant
smell. Oils too.
Yeah, but it made a clumpy dumpy mess. It did not work. I mean, there may be a way to do it we haven't perfected yet, but that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, and another thing is like with the essential oils, adding that kind of stuff, a lot of times it changes the texture of the paint. So anyway, we're still a work in progress on a lot of that stuff, but we do try to include everything that's tactile with our kiddos. As a matter of fact, last summer we had not this past summer, not this summer, but the last summer, previous summer, we had an stained glass artist from Austin that came and did stained glass pieces with our kids, and we're like, oh no, they can't mess with glass like that, that will be cut, we can't have that. And he's like, no, because he actually, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chris Cole, the Chris Cole program in Austin. It's by Texas School for the Blind, and it's for adults, and it's a transition program.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. Well, he actually taught, he was a rehab teacher, and he actually worked with people who are blind at the Chris Cole program. And he did, he did stained glass art with them and all kinds of woodworking and all kinds of stuff with them. But he's like, no, we got this, we'll do it. And he brought a bunch of stained glass and showed the kids how to shake it up in the jars with the soapy water to get the sharp edges off. And then he just like worked with us, and we took all these pieces of glass and we just put them in on a picture frame, kind of like we did with this Christmas tree, and used the mortar around, what, I'm not using the right word, grout, maybe grout was the word, but anyway, and then those pictures, they just came out beautiful. So there's so much out there that you just wouldn't think about doing, but it was, you know, there's so much. I mean, there's really, don't think you can't do it just because you can't see. That's the biggest thing we learned, is just do it.
And we have 2 hands raised here.
Okay. Ted, what's your question?
Okay, I don't really have a question, but you did ask if there was any artists in.
Yes, yes.
I'm not the artist of this relationship, but my significant other, Joanne, is.
Oh, cool.
And she's been listening too, but she's been listening from the bed since she just got back from dialysis.
Oh,
Anyhow, so she likes to do wreath art, and a lot of her ideas do come from Pinterest. For example, she made a turkey wreath to hang on our nursing home door. She did a turkey wreath last year or a year before that at the nursing home we were previously at. And she uses a styrofoam wreath and then a styrofoam cone, and uses and coffee filters to make the feathers.
Oh, that is so cool. I love that.
And she uses styrofoam, half circle styrofoam to make the eyes, and of course she paints it and all that.
That is awesome.
And then I got my creative touch to the whole thing was putting a M95 mask on the beak.
Oh, I love it. That's funny. I
And
asked
so,
you with the filters. Do you color the filters?
I'm sorry?
The filters that you use for the feathers, are they colored? Do you like dye them with anything?
I think she's gotten brown coffee filters. She gets most of her stuff from Hobby Lobby. Occasionally she'll get the odds and ends from Walmart.
Sure. Yeah.
And how do you find the colored coffee filters, Joe?
Well, what you can do is you can get like a small pool of water, and then just drop the acrylic paint on the top. And then you put absorb the color.
Were you able to hear her? She's far away.
Yes, I did hear. That sounds like a good idea. We'll have to try that. I've only heard of people doing things like tea staining or tea dyeing it, using like tea that's already made or coffee that's made, and just stain it with those colors. But I have seen them with different colors, so I didn't know if there was some other way to do it. I like that idea of just adding.
Try going to Michael's. That's another craft store. If y'all go to Michael's, we have Michael's, and we, you know, if your community has a Michael's, go to Michael's. Yeah.
That is when we get out from under this lockdown business.
All right.
Absolutely.
And we do have Liz with one more.
Okay, Liz.
And we're gonna have to wrap up here.
All right, Liz.
Okay.
Hey, I was just gonna share a little bit of stuff that I've done, and then had a comment. I'm gonna turn the camera on just for 1 second if I'm permitted to. Here's one. I do a lot of paper crafting, so this was my bigger one that I did out of COVID boredom. It's a paper flower wall.
I love it.
That was a bunch of fun, and then I also do card making and scrapbooking, and I make paper wreaths. And yeah, you guys came and did an awesome job with our Bell Academy a couple of years ago, so that was a ton of fun. I'm really impressed with y'all.
Hey, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was. But my only comment, and I may have made it even last time when we talked, is I do wish maybe you guys could have like an adults club, or at least maybe put out a blog or an email with suggestions or something.
Well, you know what, maybe we can do something whenever we start doing it with Zoom. I mean, there's no reason. Yeah, sure.
That'd be great. Because I think a lot of, my opinion on it is just, you know, a lot of blind people maybe haven't had experience doing visual art, and it's kind of harder to forge your own way when everything is mostly just like Instagram or Pinterest
Sure.
photos, so it's kind of harder to get an idea. So
Yeah, definitely. We can definitely open it up when we're doing Zooms and things like that. Sure, that would be fine. I think a lot of the thing when we were just working with kids is, the privacy thing with the
oh
parents
sure.
and stuff. So, people are very protective. So, we were just kind of keeping it with kids. But if it's a Zoom, I think, our parents would probably be okay with that. So it would be something we discuss with our parents, of course, first and see how they feel about it. And I don't see any reason why we couldn't just do a Zoom. So anyway, yeah. So if you guys are interested in participating, just email us. And Ron said he would include our information, our contact information, and we can definitely send you a link when we have the Zoom up and going, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, thank you again, Kathy, Linda. Y'all did a great job. Sparked a lot of carryover ideas. Like I say, there's so much that can be generalized beyond the holidays even, but great crafty holiday ideas. And we do have a door prize we'd like to give out, and I'm going to take the easy way. I'm not going to go to the registrants. I'm looking at 10 attendees here, and I'm going to pick a random number between 1 and 10, and we're going to go down the list. Pick a random number between 1 and 10.
A random number between 1 and 10 is 8.
Number 8. That is Nicole Findley. So congratulations, Nicole.
Congratulations, Nicole.
So that will be a $25 Amazon gift card from HAVIN. And thank you all for being here today. We are doing a holiday recipe collection. Any of you here, some of you have submitted something. If you haven't, please email us, HAVIN, HAVIN@gmail.com. If you've got a favorite recipe, a side, an entree, a dessert, a drink, that is going to be our gift to everyone who's been coming to our Zoom meetings. We're going to put together this collection and send that out to everybody. So if you want your recipe included, please do so by tomorrow at 5 p.m. So, Nicole, you got your hand raised. I know you're here, so.
Alt mute, currently unmuted.
Right.
Alt the A button.
Ron, can you hear me?
I hear you fine.
Are we gonna talk about it when we meet, or
what? The gift
about
card?
Yeah.
I'll email you.
Okay.
If you're good, I can just email you the gift card, and all you have to do is click and it goes to your account.
Oh, it's okay. Not a physical one?
No, but unless you want it that way, you just have to wait longer to get it.
Okay, well, I can decide?
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all again for being here. This is our last workshop for the year. And I appreciate y'all for being here today, and those of you who've been in here in the past, which is for the most part everybody. So thank y'all, and we appreciate you, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and COVID go away.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for being such a good group.
All right. Thank you. Thanks again, ladies.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
That is left.